Grace, maybe tell us a little bit about how what inspired you to go from a dentist and a mom to an entrepreneur. Maybe share with us a little bit.
Absolutely. I grew up with parents who are entrepreneurs and have grown up in a setting where my parents owned small businesses, multiple small businesses. And I watched them do that and worked in many of the small businesses myself with alongside my sister. And we learned many of the small business ownership challenges. And we learned that it is hard to employ people who rely on you for their paychecks, right? And the responsibilities that come along with it. We learned along the way that if you're a business owner, it's hard to go on vacation. It's hard to close up shop. It's hard to trust other people to manage your money. I watched my parents get swindled, and embezzled. I've watched my parents lose employees, hire employees. And having that experience really put in my brain as a young child and into adulthood what it's like to be an entrepreneur, what it's like to be a business owner. And when you're in that setting and you grow up in that, for you, you just think that's what I'm going to do, right? Like as a dentist. So when I went to dental school and became a dentist, I knew right away that ultimately I would own my own business. I would own my own practice. The goal was to own 3 practices and have a brand and have clout in my industry, right? And I wanted to be the go-to pediatric orthodontic practice in Chicagoland area and built my own name up and my own brand. And doing so, I had to work for other dentists to learn the ropes. I had to learn all about dentistry, front desk, scheduling, doing all those things because my parents are not in healthcare. And it's a different way, it's a different system, right? So learning all the systems. And I knew from a very young age that that's what I wanted to do. And being an entrepreneur is about risk. And a lot of healthcare professionals are not about risk. And when you marry the two together, a lot of things can happen, right? And as a risk taker myself, you have to assess your risk assessment. What can you really take on and what can you really do? Because when it comes down to it, it's all about the money, right? There's a huge financial risk when you're an entrepreneur. And then the other kind of objective is how do you build a business that runs without you? How do you run a business and be an entrepreneur without you yourself being the technician or you yourself having to be in there doing and working the business? So those are the kinds of things that I had to learn along the way that I built for myself, and really captured those objectives while running my businesses.
You run into some of the same difficulties that your parents ran into, I assume?
Absolutely. And on all levels, no matter if you're a pizza shop owner or you're a shoe store owner or you're, whatever store, small business, brick and mortar you have, you rely on people to help you with your business. And I definitely ran into a lot of the same issues that my parents did, and I learned how to handle them. But again, as time evolves, you have different ways to run business, right? So as you're evolving, like 10, 15, 20 years ago, there was no such thing as a Google search, right? So when I was working, there was no such thing as a website. We had paper charts, not digital, right? So even business has to evolve and you have to evolve with that. You cannot be stuck in one way. The times and technology forces you to evolve. And with that evolution comes the evolution of you being an entrepreneur. Like you have to be up with the times, right? In order to serve the population that you're serving. And yes, so definitely had a lot of the similar challenges, but also different challenges along the way. And I wouldn't have it on any other way. Like I tell my friends, having your own business is blood, sweat, tears. It's not easy. And you are so invested in it, right? And it's hard not to take things personally. And when you put in your heart and soul into your business and it is yours, you want to be successful, you're driven, and all that hard work eventually pays off. And along with that, though, comes times when you doubt yourself, like, why am I doing this? Or what did I sign up for? Right? There are times when you're like, did I get in over my head? That self-doubt does come. And then there are times when you're like, I'm burnt out. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm not passionate about it. Like, I don't want to do this. So there are many different cycles of ownership and business ownership and entrepreneurship that people have to go through. And that's what I'm here to talk about today.